Coming up on Carolina Week, the debate about a teacher's email heats up. We'll take you to the press conference that's making headlines across North Carolina.
Rabies cases in Orange County have people protecting their pets. We'll tell you all you need to know.
And the American people are getting bigger. We'll investigate some of the causes of this growing trend. All that and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening and welcome to the March 31st edition of Carolina Week. I'm Jenny McClendon.
And I'm Catherine Chang. Our top story tonight. There's been a great deal of controversy surrounding an email University English instructor Elise Crystal sent to her class, criticizing comments one of her students made during a class discussion about homosexuality. Courtney Robinson joins us live in the studio with more. Courtney?
The Federal Office of Civil Rights has launched an investigation of the situation at the urging of U.S. Congressman Walter Jones. Wednesday afternoon, a group of students from Crystal's class and other interested students held a press conference to support her. Crystal herself was not there, saying she was concerned for her safety. The students said they were offended by the original remarks, deemed critical of homosexual lifestyle, which resulted in the email from the instructor. One student in the group read a statement from Crystal.
I chose to remain silent because I wanted to protect my classroom from the media circus. It has become abundantly clear to me that my ability to protect my students has been taken away from me and that I am powerless to protect them. Tim's actual comments have been misrepresented, watered down, and recently entirely changed by the media. My comments were intended not simply to show Tim and all the rest of the students that Tim's comments were not appropriate to the classroom, but also to guide other students in determining how they should engage in discussions in the future. I believe then, and continue to believe, that it is a teacher's right and responsibility to guide, support, and when necessary for the greater good of the classroom community, limit student comments.
Late Wednesday afternoon, we spoke by phone with the student who made the comments in Crystal's class. He asked to remain anonymous, so we will identify him only by his first name, Tim. Tim said, "I don't think I did anything wrong because the question was asked in class and I answered it the way many Christians feel on the issue. Nowhere ever did I say I hate anyone or do I wish to harm anybody. I don't hate people that do things like that, but I disagree with the act." Tim told us he doesn't understand why the instructor labeled what he said as hate speech. Despite the controversy, which has attracted national attention through the internet, both Tim and the students at the press conference say they still feel comfortable participating in class discussion. But Crystal isn't comfortable talking about the situation in public, in part because of this stack of emails she received in which she's been called everything from a fascist piglet to a feminazi.
Courtney Robinson reporting live in the studio. Thanks, Courtney.
UNC police are asking the campus community to help them find 4 men wanted for a recent strong-armed robbery. The incident occurred near Eringhouse Residence Hall late Tuesday night. Police say 4 men assaulted 19-year-old Bobby Sutton and took his keys, cell phone, and some cash. Police urge community members to take extra precautions on campus late at night. UNC Public Safety spokesman Randy Young says they're trying to spread the word to keep people safe.
Patrolmen have gone out and put out flyers at all the local libraries and campus libraries, and we've had them on the point-to-point express buses at night talking about this. We just want people to use a normal amount of caution here.
Police describe the robbers as black men in their early 20s who are more than 6 feet tall with medium builds. At the time of the incident, they were wearing blue jeans with dark hooded sweatshirts and had navy blue bandanas covering their faces.
Folks in Hillsborough are concerned because the Orange County town is the site of the second case of wildlife rabies reported this year. Animal control officials say a rabid fox attacked a 2-year-old boy while he was playing in his backyard during the weekend. Here are some tips about how you can recognize animals with rabies. Look for signs of excessive saliva, an animal with no fear of humans, and signs of paralysis. To protect you and your pet, make sure you have your pets vaccinated. Never touch or try to catch wild animals. Also, secure garbage cans that might attract animals, and never handle a dead animal. If you've been exposed to rabies, immediately clean the wound with soap and water. Also, contact your doctor and your county's animal control center.
Pro-choice supporters are trying to encourage participation in the March for Women's Lives protest to be held April 25th in Washington, D.C. The The president of NARAL Pro-Choice America, Kate Mitchellman, spoke Tuesday at Carolina. Mitchellman said it's important to get students involved in the march, which is being held to protest restrictions on abortion that have been signed into law in the past 4 years.
Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pro-choice Americans are going to gather to send a message that we will not lose our right to choose, that this is a right that is fundamental to our lives, to our equality as women, and to the health of our families, and that we will not stand silently by while our rights are being taken away.
Organizers expect the march to attract more than 200,000 people to the National Mall in Washington, D.C.
Racial slurs and offensive slang are not welcome around campus. However, in an effort to combat hate, members of the campus community are sponsoring the Writing on the Wall project. Organizers hope this writing will draw attention to hate speech and other forms of oppression still in use today. The intention is to educate, not offend, so warning signs have been placed near the wall. Organizers will symbolically remove these verbal barriers to understanding by erasing them in the pit at 2 p.m. Friday.
The next time you think a few extra fast food fries won't hurt, you might want to think again. Tiffany Goings tells us just how a few more fries can come with a big cost.
One order of supersized fries at McDonald's, 610 calories. One supersized Coca-Cola, 410 calories. That equals a supersized group of Americans who are ultimately getting larger because of a fast food drive-through craze. Cary-based company TC Squared examined 10,000 people using a 3D scanning technology. Previous studies showed that the average American woman had a 35-inch bust, a 27-inch waist, and 38-inch hips. But the Size USA survey revealed that today's woman has a 41-inch bust, a 34-inch waist, and 43-inch hips. Similarly, the average man's chest and waist have gotten 4 inches larger, and his hips have gotten 2 inches wider in the last 50 years. Director of the Size USA study, Jim Lovejoy.
We're getting more pear-shaped, whereas a lot of the standards were developed for an hourglass-shaped person.
While I was at TC Squared, I got measured in the scanning room and found my body shape to be surprisingly different than what I had imagined. Dietitian Jenny Favre says poor eating habits are leading to the changes in body size.
People are eating a lot of meals out. A lot of families eat at least one meal per day out.
Favre says reaching the next generation is the key to combating the country's weight problem.
If we could somehow manage to get good nutrition information out to very young children and begin to see those changes made from an early age, I think that's going to make a huge difference in the future.
Otherwise, it might be all of us who are supersized. In Chapel Hill, I'm Tiffany Goings, Carolina Week.
Many companies like Brooks Brothers are using the 3D scanning equipment as a way to provide a better clothing fit for their customers. While some parents complain that their kids don't listen.
And some kids haven't been able to listen until now.
I helped turn my child's public school into one with extended hours, 6 days a week year-round, filled with loads of academic, cultural, and recreational activities. One with medical and dental services right there. A school where students are excited about learning. There's just one problem. My child doesn't ever want to come home. Turn your school into a community school for excellence. Find out how. Call 1-877-LOVE-TO-LEARN.
Awaken your creativity. Do your thing at the Art School at the Art Center in Carborough.
In the United States, graduate school applications from international students are on the decline. More than 90% of graduate schools have reported an overall decrease in applications, and the total number for fall 2004 has declined 32% from fall 2003. The director at the International Center, Robert Luck, said that at Carolina, graduate school applications from international students has gone down about 17%.
Well, in every project, we do plan ahead and try to protect the construction area from any possible entry by bystanders or faculty and staff and students. And as you see, you can see the orange fences that go up, probably the first thing that happens.
These days, you can't escape the orange barriers across campus. Now, some officials are trying to put students and faculty at ease about construction site safety. There are rising concerns about construction safety following recent accidents in Wake County, including one on North Carolina State's campus. A student was injured here 2 weeks ago when she ignored a barrier and broke her ankle in an off-limit zone. EHS Director Peter Reinhardt says the university takes adequate precautions to ensure the safety of the campus community. He says it's ultimately the responsibility of individual contractors to ensure proper site safety.
If you take the public bus to school every day, you might want to put aside a little extra bus money for next year. It looks as though a tax hike might be necessary next year for Chapel Hill to maintain its existing level of transportation services. Preliminary estimates indicate that a 50-cent increase will be needed to adequately fund mass transit. The town manager will present his recommended budget April 26th, and a public hearing is scheduled May 12th.
Thousands of children in the U.S. are born deaf every year. Now, some of these children can hear the world around them thanks to modern technologies and an innovative preschool in Durham. Medical reporter Julie Steiner has more.
4-year-old Harmony Baker of Raleigh was born deaf, but today she communicates like most hearing children, through listening and speaking. Harmony is one of about 7,000 children in the U.S. who have received a cochlear implant. The implant allows sound to bypass damaged cells inside the cochlea, the snail-shaped structure in the inner ear that allows us to hear.
The cochlea is sort of the end organ of hearing. It's like the eyeball. It receives the signal, ultimately, to send it to the brain.
The cochlear implant works like this. An external microphone sends sounds to a speech processor. The processor codes sounds and sends them to a receiver surgically implanted behind the ear. The sound travels along wires threaded through the cochlea. There, the brain turns the sound into signals, producing a hearing sensation. Harmony's father, Chris Baker, recalls the day 2.5 years ago when Harmony heard his voice for the first time.
She buried her head in my chest and she just gripped onto me, and I think I probably told Harmony that day, I love you, I love you, I love you. You mean so much to me. I kept saying it because I was trying to make up for the lost time.
The love came through, but the words had no real meaning. Children who receive implants can hear sounds, but initially have trouble making sense of those sounds. Audiologist Holly Teagle says the key is intense rehabilitation.
The implant is not just a fix of hearing, it's part of a process of rehabilitation.
Harmony Baker's rehabilitation takes place at the Castle Preschool Program, part of a larger UNC program that sees children through the implant process. Play and activities in the classroom all center on language. Daily one-on-one sessions with the speech pathologist focus on listening skills and building vocabulary. Staff say rehabilitation is hard work, but Chris Baker says it's all worth it.
With the help of the teachers and the staff here, you know, her vocabulary is extensive, and she's growing. She's met great friends, and you know, it's on the up and up.
Jaw is dirty. Jaw is stirring. That was excellent.
In Durham, I'm Julie Steiner, Carolina Week.
The American Speech Language Hearing Association says everyone reacts differently to cochlear implants because the procedure might not be appropriate for many deaf children. And Scott Williams joins us now with a look at the weather.
Absolutely.
God, it's been a little dreary this week. I was really hoping last week's warm-up would really stick around.
Yeah, I thought it was spring.
Yeah, absolutely. Mother Nature has had her fair share of tricks this month, and she's sort of given us her own rendition of March Madness, so to speak. We've been dealing with above normal temperatures, below normal temperatures, some snow, sleet, you know, freezing rain, even thunderstorms, which we're actually dealing with some this evening and going to continue into the latter part of our Carolina Week 4-day forecast. But let's go ahead and take a look at this week's weather question, which is pop-up thunderstorms typically associated with warm, humid air masses are known as A, multi-cell squall lines, B, single-cell thunderstorms, or C, supercell thunderstorms. I'll have that answer and your entire Carolina Week forecast when we return.
Let your knowledge grow at the North Carolina Botanical Garden. Through public service, research, conservation, and education. The garden brings North Carolina's rich natural heritage to you. It's a beautiful way to learn.
How you doing? I just want regular, no sugar today.
You got it.
Thanks. Hello.
Hi.
Did you eat that whole thing today?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, how you doing?
She's getting big, huh?
Good. Yeah, she is big. Hey, haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks cute. Well, let's go. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. Well, the month of March has begun to wind down, and as we go ahead now and take a look at your weather headlines, you can see that all in all, we're going to begin unsettled during our weather forecast period as we're going to have to contend with several bouts of rain. Now, all in all, the good news is that we need the rain as North Carolina and much of the Southeast is in a drought, so to speak, and we need to see some rainfall. But the bad news is that as these areas of low pressure continue to rotate through our region, we're going to have a possibility of seeing some thunderstorms, which is definitely bad news. Now, the thunderstorms that may be produced with this system rotating through the area may bring a possibility for some hail. And as we look and see, you can see that the sun will return for our weekend once we get this stubborn area of low pressure out of the region. We are going to see a sunny weekend in your Carolina Week 4-day forecast. So let's go ahead now and take a look at your satellite map. As we look at this area of low pressure, you can almost see the area of low pressure and the associated cloud cover that's just sticking in parts of the southeast, giving us with cloudy conditions and drizzle, peaks of sunshine in between. Now, those peaks of sunshine actually act to destabilize the atmosphere, which is why we're going to see a chance for some thunderstorms in our area as this area of low pressure just continues to sit across our region, as it's just sort of set up shop, allowing for areas of low pressure to continue rotating through it, providing us with showers and thunderstorms. As we look at your surface map, you can see that area of low pressure. As we look at your surface map, you can see that that area of low pressure is associated with the clouds that we were looking at, and it's also bringing the rain and thunderstorms into our region. It's just set up shop, and it's a slow mover at that, so we're going to have to deal with clouds and unseasonably cool conditions for the next several days in your Carolina Week forecast. But all in all, as this area of high pressure that's stationed in ports of the Midwest is going to move into our region and allow us to see the sun once again. As we go ahead now and take a look at your Carolina Week 4-day forecast, you can see that once again on Friday, we're going to have a possibility for some scattered showers and thunderstorms, but all in all, it's going to remain cool as those clouds are going to keep our temperatures on the cool side. On Saturday, expect our cloud cover to begin to subside, and our temperature should top out at about 63 degrees for your Saturday. On Sunday, we're going to warm things up 1 degree, 64 degrees, continuation of partly cloudy skies, but ultimately, we're going to see sunny conditions on Monday with a high temperature topping out close to 70 degrees. Folks headed to the beaches this weekend, can you expect rain? Well, it's actually going to shape up pretty nice. We're going to have partly cloudy conditions on both Saturday and Sunday with temperatures in the mid to upper 60s throughout the period. Your lows will be in the upper 40s. What about if folks are heading out to the mountains? Well, the mountains are going to be nice as well, and also they've received some snowfall, but the weekend is going to clear things out, and temperatures should top out close to about 59 degrees for Saturday. On Sunday, we're going to go 60 degrees for you with the morning lows being around 40 degrees. As we go ahead and look at your ski report, well, folks, the ski season has closed for the season, and next week we're possibly going to bring you some boat or beach forecasts. So folks headed out to the lakes and things of that nature or surfing, we'll give you a report for that. But do any of you have an idea of what our pop-up thunderstorm question is? Is it a single cell, multi-cell, or supercell?
Kat had a good idea. We were talking during the break, and
After that update on McDonald's, I think I'm going to go for supercell.
Supercell.
I'm going to stick with her.
All right. Well, actually, the correct answer is B. A pop-up thunderstorm typically associated with warm, humid air masses is what we refer to as little pulse thunderstorms. They're not really severe in nature, and they don't really last that long. And anytime you see a pop-up thunderstorm, it's typically not going to produce severe weather, but the multi-cell squall lines will bring heavy downpours, and a supercell thunderstorm is typically associated with tornadoes and severe weather. And we're in a period right now where we're going to be dealing with some possibilities of severe weather as Mother Nature is sort of in a transition period as we're going to be going from, cooler temperatures, warming things up, and that clash will provide some volatile situations for our weather. But
I think we were supposed to learn not to go for supercell, to go for single cell from that story. So guess we missed that one. Thanks, Scott.
All right.
Well, Brad Lewis joins us now with sports.
Brad, what's going on?
Glad the thunderstorms cleared up. We were able to get some spring sport action in today. Coming up in sports, tennis action Wednesday afternoon for both the Carolina men's and women's teams. Plus, we'll take a closer look at the recent tragedies in the world of men's lacrosse.
Good evening. Follow me, please.
Imagine what America would be like today if Martin Luther King never had a dream. Help keep the dream alive. To find out more about the Martin Luther King Memorial in Washington, D.C., call or log on now.
When your children ask where you got married, will you have to tell them, over there by the unleaded? When we lose a historic place, we lose a part of who we are. Help protect historic places in your community. Visit nationaltrust.org.
The women's tennis team is hot. The Heels continued their ACC run, going against NC State Wednesday afternoon and taming the Wolfpack into nothing but a pack of Cubs. Number one double set the tone for the match with Carolina's Aniela Mojic and Kendall Klein out-hitting, out-serving, and out-switching the competition 8-1. At number three, the Heels continue to dominate, barely dropping one game, finishing strong 8-1. Number two is slightly more contested, and I mean slightly, as the Heels made it a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am afternoon, winning 8-2. Before the last home match on Wednesday, team captains and seniors Nick Monroe, Andy Metzler, and Ben Aiken helped the Heels warm up before the Heels take on the number 46 ranked Demon Deacons. Their leadership has not only helped Carolina win the last 5 matches, but given UNC its most successful start in 26 years. The Carolina men's lacrosse team won't be playing Cornell because of the on-field death of Cornell's captain. Alex Hurst says the death might prompt calls for better safety measures in the sport.
Lacrosse deaths are rare, but with the physical style of the game and little protective gear, they're becoming more common. George Biordi of Cornell was the 4th lacrosse player in the past 5 years to die after being hit in the chest with a ball. In the other 3 cases, the player's death was attributed to commotio cordis, a chest blow that can cause a heart attack. Luis Acamporo was killed by commotio cordis in March of 2000 after blocking a lacrosse shot with his chest. He was 14. Carolina coach John Haas says with each lacrosse death, conversation has turned to whether safer equipment or rule changes should be introduced.
I think what will happen is that our NCAA committee, rules committee, will look at the equipment that's being worn to see if we can enhance that a little bit to prevent these types of tragedies.
Although goalies wear protective equipment that covered their chests, most field players do not. For now, Carolina lacrosse players will continue to play the game they love, doing their best to keep themselves safe. In Chapel Hill, I'm Alex Hurst, Carolina Week Sports.
The Tar Heels will be in action Saturday when they travel to Baltimore, Maryland to meet number 1 ranked Johns Hopkins. Carolina will be seeking its first win against the Blue Jays since 1994. UNC football kicks off this Saturday. Well, the spring football game, that is. This year, there's a twist. The blue team and the white team will be divided evenly by a reality draft held by the players. Kickoff for the game is 1 p.m. at Kenan Stadium. Gates open at 10:30 a.m. and admission is free. If you get the munchies, Concessions will be served, but only on the south side of Kenan Stadium. The Carolina baseball team is ranked number 9 in the nation after 2 wins against Florida State last weekend. A big reason for the Heels' recent success is right fielder Marshall Hubbard, who was named the ACC Co-Player of the Week. This guy's bat is so hot right now. Hubbard batted above 500 against Florida State with a homer, 3 doubles, and 6 RBIs. He had 3 RBIs in Sunday's 12-6 win against the Seminoles. Hubbard and the Heels take on number 6 ranked South Carolina Wednesday. Then Carolina hits the road for a weekend series against Wake Forest. The men's NCAA tournament is down to the Final Four. Carolina was knocked out in the second round, but 2 teams from the ACC are still alive. Now, people say they pull for other ACC teams after their team has been knocked out, but is anyone at Carolina really pulling for Duke or Georgia Tech?
Unfortunately, I had Carolina in instead of Duke, so I lost some money there, but I'll never pull for Duke, and if it's got to be somebody, I'll pull for GT all the way.
So were you disappointed then to see Duke get to the Final Four?
No, because unfortunately, I can see them making it there. As much as I don't want to admit it, they're a good team, but UConn's going to take them over.
Definitely I'm pulling for Georgia Tech.
Not Duke.
No, never Duke.
Never Duke? Why not?
Well, because they're kind of like the New York Yankees of college basketball.
If it was just Duke representing the ACC, I'd never pull for them. So even if they were the only ACC team in, you wouldn't pull for them. If Duke was playing Russia, I'd pull for Russia over Duke.
The Final Four starts Saturday in San Antonio with the national semifinals. Georgia Tech plays Oklahoma State, and Duke takes on UConn. Well, a couple of possible guys that could take Carolina to the Final Four coming up. The McDonald's All-American game Wednesday is at 9 p.m. 2 future Tar Heels J.R. Smith and Marvin Williams are playing in that game.
Sounds good.
Great news.
Keep
Thanks,
an eye
Brad.
out. Thanks. Well, look out, Hollywood.
Some Carolina students might be on their way.
Escucha Smokey antes de tratar.
Solo tú.
No juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego. No hay nada para un pobre conejo asustado o un pobre ratón sin casa en que vivir. Si un hermoso bosque es lo que deseas, no juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego.
Solo tú puedes prevenir los fuegos en áreas naturales.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Lies, lust, betrayal, revenge. Sound like something you'd like to be part of? It did for several hundred Carolina students Tuesday.
I want to get it while I can while I'm young.
Corey Kennedy is young and, after waiting in line at the Carolina Union, a little restless. But would he convince talent scouts he was right for the young and the restless?
Well, hopefully I will get called back.
And he wasn't alone. Ashley Patterson! Several hundred SOAP hopefuls came armed with information about themselves to the Wyandotte Talent Search.
I just saw a sign and it had an open call here, so I thought it was pretty convenient just to come out and try. I had nothing to lose.
The show's Greg Rickhart said for some, it won't just be a shot in the dark.
And then the top 2 winners will get to be on the show.
For Kennedy, the possibility of joining Victor, Jack, and Angelo was worth it.
I would like to pursue the acting career or modeling career, something more than, just a regular college student right now.
Young and the Restless producers are also scouting for students at SMU, San Francisco State, Minnesota, and Maryland.
Finalists will be announced on CBS's early show Friday, May 14th. Jenny, did you give it a shot and try out while you were there?
You know, I thought about it, but I thought I would just stick to the news. I think that's the place for me.
Not a bad idea.
That does it for tonight. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Yeah, it definitely was not good.